All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the one we've been waiting for, y'all. We've been waiting for her since last year. We had to come around. Look, we had to make sure she writes something every year.
We had to do it
We can
again.
come
We had to
back.
do it again.
Exactly. So, welcome everyone to Planners Knowledge. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It don't cost you nothing but just a momentary effort to hit the subscribe. We definitely need it. Also, be sure to grab pen, paper, open a tab because trust and believe you're going to hear something during this next hour where you're going to want to say, I need to capture that note. I need to capture that thought. So please be sure to get that right now. And with all the excitement that I can muster up right now, all the tambourine shakes that I can get out of me right now, I am so excited to have her back on the show.
Oh.
Please welcome Eskay Kabba. I feel like you know how to be like,
Ah.
oh, we're gonna go there. I'm here.
I'm the best. Don't pay me any mind.
Now do it again. Do it again. How's it go again? That's it. Y'all, we're not even 2 minutes in.
I know.
So you already.
I am like this in real life. Like people don't believe me. I'm like this in real life. Like this is me. What you see is what you get. I'm a mess.
People gonna hit the replay just to hear you do that.
Use it anytime.
Come
You have
on.
book vision.
Come on. I'm gonna just cut it. That's just gonna be my reel. For the next. You know, some people have theme music whenever you drop a book.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna play.
Every time I drop a book,
yes.
I'm dropping them like
Look,
flies.
come on, come on. So I know they are like, who is this woman that got her fully amped up? I'm glad we were not in school together. I'll tell you that much.
We would be in trouble all the time. But we getting straight A's.
We getting straight A's, right? We're gonna do well. A's. Oh yeah, we're gonna do well for sure.
Yes, we did.
And we're gonna have a good time while we're doing it. And anybody around us gonna have a good time too.
That's right.
All right. So let me have you introduce. They are cracking up already.
Already? I don't even see it. So I guess I'll see it later.
Look, here we go. Can you see? Look. You got it. Let's see. Pokemon Gaming said very excited.
Oh, nice.
Pete Barkley said greetings, queens, greetings. Leslie said good evening, ladies. Good evening. So we are here for it. Let me tell you, I met Eskay last year at the Collingswood Book Festival, and her energy was just popping. Like just her by herself, it was popping. I was like, oh, I got to know her. And the two of us have to come. It was like fire met fire and turned into inferno. And it was like, we are here for it. And then I had the great pleasure to see her again this year at the Plymouth meeting event. And it was about 50 authors, I believe. And so what a fantastic way to end really kind of our book year is to have her on the show. So I'm going to have her reintroduce herself for those who met her last time she was on the show, and introduce yourself to those who are joining us for the first time.
So I'm Eskay Kabba. Sk is actually my initials, S and K, my first name and my middle name. And Kabba is a homage to my West African roots. My family is from Sierra Leone, so I'm first generation born. There I am, a steamy romance writer. That's the role I'm playing today. I have so many other hats, but that's the role that I'm playing now. I mostly write romance, but I can do it all. I am someone who, how do you say, this is how I feel. If I'm going to write a love story, and if I'm going to write a passionate scene, I'm not holding back. The lights are on, the doors are open, the windows are, come take a peek inside, because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show you
Come on.
how it's going to be.
Come on.
And that's just because, I write the things I like to read. I read a
Mm-hmm.
lot of steamy romance,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just kind of like steamy romance is just kind of like my genre.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you always know that that would be your genre, though? How did you find out that this would be your lane?
I did not always know. So I've been kind of writing on and off, you know how people get, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start writing when you're a kid, and then, I'm writing poetry and I'm writing short stories and things like that. And then life just kind of takes over, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you start doing, other things, you start, having families and moving and careers and, all those things. And so when I started writing again, it was just kind of stories that were taking scene in my head that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to put on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just, when I got to, the lovemaking scenes, I just kept going,
Mm-hmm.
and that just
Mm-hmm.
became easier for me to write a lovemaking scene than,
Interesting.
then I got to actually learn how to write, right? And I got
Okay.
holes,
Yes.
plug on actual stories. And so I've told, people before that I was writing free stories on Literotica for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just started branching out to putting those stories on other platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had a really great friend who introduced me to his publisher, Four Horsemen Publications. Shout out to Four Horsemen Publications. I adore them. They're female owned publication. Company. And so Erica and Val are amazing, and I adore being one of the horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, most of their, well, they have other pieces. They have nonfiction, but the fiction stuff that they do, a lot of it is, they welcome steamy romance. And so
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of welcomed my work with open arms. And,
Mm-hmm.
when you start writing this stuff, you ask yourself, like, are people really going to read this? And then you find out they do. Whether they do it in the covers at night, whether they're, downloading it on the low, or
Yes. Yes.
whether they're reading it on a train. I mean, people read, steamy romance. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the whole, back in the day, I say back in the day, but years ago, when the whole, 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon
Yes.
came out, I think that was the first time people, I would say, like, normal people, right?
Uh-huh.
Grandmas, and, they
Uh-huh.
were picking up these steamy books and they're reading these books, and you're like, oh, like, everybody reads these books,
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
it's funny that you say that, right? Because now we're gonna go way back in the day when there was the Harlequin romances and
yes,
those types of things, right? At the grocery store checkout line. And they were considered, it was like people weren't really out about buying them.
right.
And it was only maybe seen as a certain group of people. And then there started to be more of this kind of street,
Yes.
urban
Mm-hmm.
stuff that started happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that seemed like it just caught like wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
So, for you in your journey, like you said, you started out writing younger. Well, first, let's just even go back even further. Did you always want to be a writer?
Good question. When I was a little girl,
Mhm.
I wanted to be a singer-songwriter, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, some of the things I used to do was I used to write song lyrics.
really?
Don't ask me them now. You
Oh,
would
you
make
know
fun
I
of
was
me.
coming for
I'm a,
you.
I'm an 80s baby, so I was
Come
doing
on.
lyrics like,
Yeah.
pop, pop, scott, scott, Don't pay me no mind. So so that's what I wanted to be when I was a little girl. I wanted to
Hmm.
be a singer-songwriter. I was one of those people who, remember back in the day, used to get the tape and it has the lyrics in it. I would
Yes.
actually read to see, like, who was the writer, like,
Oh, wow.
Diane Warren, and, Michael Jackson wrote a lot of his stuff.
Yes.
Like, I was kind of one of those people. Like, I want to know who wrote this song.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of like what I wanted to do. So um, I don't know how I eventually branched off into, like, writing short stories, but
Uh-huh.
I had mentioned this before. Like, and I say this as my tagline, like stories come into my head that I just need to share with the world. They don't let me go. These characters don't let me go until I start writing them down, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just do it, you know?
So it's very interesting. And first, let me clarify this for people who are joining us. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. If they hit that QR code with their phone, something will appear for them.
My website will.
Aha.
Stories.
All right, y'all. So y'all go on and click on that. So, okay. So you all of a sudden you decide I got to get this stuff out of my head,
Yep.
right? And these characters are living in there. Do you see what the characters look like?
Sometimes, not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have my vision of what the characters should look like, and if I do, I'll describe it. I'll describe them like in the book. Sometimes I'll start writing and I'm like, I need to. I'll pause and say like, okay, I need to figure out like what this character looks like. So, for example, here goes my first plug-in.
Come on. we are literally here for the plugs.
With the plain and simple connection,
Uh-huh.
the main character, Rion Matthews, when I started writing and I started kind of trying to visualize him and describe him, and I couldn't get it just right. And so I just started kind of like looking at like I'm like, I know this space, but I can't pinpoint this space. And when you guys gotta laugh. When it finally hit me, the face that I'm going for. Do you guys know who Elliot Yamin is? Elliot Yamin. He was on American Idol. One of the first 10 seasons. And on the cover of his album, because he only came out with one album. Well, I think he came out with albums, but the album he came out with, he has like this curly black hair and just kind of like this like light beard. And I was like, yeah, I think that's
him.
Yeah. And so sometimes it happens the opposite for me. Sometimes I can see who they look like.
Okay.
And then other times I have to go, like, I can't get the face just right. And I have to go search for it. And then I try to manifest it into the book I'm trying to write.
Gotcha. Now we've been talking with some other authors recently about character development. What is that like for you? And some have worked with editors who have developmental editors who have been like, this person needs to be flushed out a little bit more and so forth. What is it like for you to develop a character, or do the characters come fully developed?
They don't come fully developed. I get a sense of who they are, and I get a sense of their background. And so when I start to get a sense of their background, I start to like pull pieces together. So again, for example, in this book, the other character in the book is Nick Heighton. So he's rich, he's a billionaire. Like I knew that. And I knew that, I wanted to show that he does the things he does because of what he's been through. So, you think of, he's rich, he's handsome, everything should come to him, right? It should be just fine. But he grew up in a house where, he wasn't really wanted. You know what I mean? Because he is 10 years younger than his two older siblings. And so for him, he was kind of like the mistake that shouldn't have happened, and to his parents. And so, they pretty much like ignored him a lot of the time. And, and so he kind of had to like find his own way in a lot of ways. And so he is the way he is because he had to find his own way. And so he does, some colorful things, but that's because like he's trying to assert his independence at some point, and trying to get a break out of the hole that his parents have just kind of put him into, you know what I mean? Just trying to like dictate his life and his love life and like all these things. And so, look at you going to my webpage.
Come on.
Yeah. And so, it's kind of like, it's kind of like you want to make sure that, you're really digging into who they are, so that, you can really, so that people can see the depth of them. You know what I mean? I'm someone who always says that I like complicated characters. And
Mm-hmm.
every one of my stories, there's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one person that is just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this person. Like, and I've had people tell me the main character, I think I mentioned this before. So Jamel and Connor, that Hidden Love series. I mean, I've had people tell me like, I cannot stand Connor. Because on the surface, he's an asshole. Like he
Mm-hmm.
really does some things. You just want to be like, oh my God, Connor, seriously, like, why did you do that? But again, he does these things because of what he's been through.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to be able to show, and I think I've said this in some of my bios, that, no one is all good or all bad. Like we're all people just trying to make it. You know what I mean? We're all just kind of making decisions that are either going to lead us to where we should be or lead us down another dark path. But either way, we're just trying to figure it out. No one has this thing called life figured out, right?
Yeah.
And we're all just trying to figure it out. And so I like to reflect that in all of my stories.
Okay. So now a plain and simple connection. That one just came out when?
So Plain and Simple Connection came out in, I want to say January.
Okay, so almost a year old.
Wait.
Let's say
I'll never know how to use this green screen thing.
Look, I know, because it keeps blending in. That's all right. Yeah. I got you.
So this is the first book of the Ryan D. Ryder series.
Okay.
The second book came out in May. So this is a continuation of their story, A Familiar Family Connection.
Okay.
And the third book, A Complementary Connection, comes out in Saturday, actually.
Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So that comes out on Saturday, and it's the conclusion of their story. And the book stands over. The first book is supposed, I've got a lot of flack from the first book because they're like, this book is shallow. It's supposed to be shallow. It's called A Plain and Simple Connection. It really is about two men who meet on a plane and have relationships.
That simple.
And enjoy each other.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the book, they figure out, we actually care about each other. So what do we do with that? Like, it's really that simple. It's supposed to be simple. And then the second book is when you really kind of dig in. She's a book behind. Yep, you're a book behind. And then the second book is when it really digs into like, okay, can we make this relationship work? Can we blend our families together? Can we figure out where they come from? Completely different worlds. I mean, we're talking about, if we're talking tropes, we're talking, billionaire and up and coming, writer, talking about, someone who grew up in a really wealthy family and someone who grew up with a drug addicted mother, four siblings, and they all each have different fathers, and so very different beginnings that they've come from, and somehow they love each other through it. So.
Okay, and now there's book number 3. It is coming out on Saturday. So can people pre-order? Or
yes, you can. You can pre-order it on the 4HP website, or you can pre-order it on Amazon right now.
Okay.
Hardcover, Kindle, paperback. I'm a paperback girl. I bought the hardcovers, but I'm a paperback girl. I like to feel the pages. I like to rumple them up in my bed with me I like to fall asleep with my thumb in between pages. I'm one of them girls.
I hear. And what are the price points for your books?
I think they're Kindle is probably, I don't know, like $6.99 or something like that.
Okay.
The paperback are probably around $20. I think, if you're getting them off Amazon, and I think the hardcovers are closer to like 24, 28 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so people know, right now, and every once in a while, Amazon is having some specials. Yep. So I'm going to put some links in here. So the Kindle cost for A Plain and Simple Connection right now is at $4.99.
See?
My goodness gracious. All right.
I want you to get the first book. You see?
Look, exactly. Look at that. Coconut Games that I've already pre-ordered on Amazon. Way
you will
to
not
go.
be disappointed. This is a good series. I mean, as I'm tooting my own horn.
As you should.
But it is. I really like this one. It's so different than the first series and the Connor and Jamel series.
Yeah.
It still deals with real world stuff. I'm one of those writers who, yes, it's all fiction, but it's real world situations and real world problems.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy this story because I am someone who, like, yes, I want the happily ever after, but we got to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yep.
all sunshines and roses. There are going to be obstacles to get to that happily ever after. And I want to show that and showcase that in my stories.
Fantastic. So now we talked about this a little bit the first time around, but I do want you to go back over it with them. And I'm going to continue for people who are joining us on the YouTube side of life, continue to put your links in there. So if anybody wants to click on and buy them while they're $4.99, I would encourage you to do such a thing, as well as get the other ones. Get, like you said, if you want the print, if you want the hardback, that's also there as well.
I also got some free stories on there.
You do?
Sorry, wrong way.
Where are the free stories? Where are they located?
They're on Google Play. I have some free stories on it. The first book of Bittersweet Irish Cream is free, and that's an ebook. So that's free. I give people the first book because I feel like, you know, one, I am a new writer to a lot of people, so get a chance to kind of know my writing style and see if you like it. If you like it, get the other ebooks. They're only like $1.99. Wow. And the other free book I have on there is Catch and Don't Release. It won the 2022 Summer Loving competition on, yes, I did. I got a little cash for it too, on Literotica. And so it's still like so popular on the Literotica website that I just said, you know what, let me clean it up, make it nice and pretty for people, and make it free. And I did a sequel to it. The sequel's not free. The sequel is $1.99, but that's okay. The first book is still free. So yes.
And they're where can people get those?
On Google Play Books.
All right, y'all.
So just if you're on Google Play Books, and you do not need to have Google to be able to read stories on Google Play Books. I've had people that have Apple that are like, can I still read them? Yes, you can. You can go on to Google Play Books. You could just do like the website and just put my name, Eskay Kabba, and you'll see like all the stories that come up. Or go to my webpage.
And they'll be
I got it this time.
You got it. Look, there you go. Yes, you got it. You got it down. All right. Putting the Google Play link in here so you can go there too. And I put all of these in here. So even after the show, when you're doing the replay, when you're sharing the link, the chat should be there. You should be able to click right on there and get to all of her stuff. Now, you talked about, I mean, people can look at the covers. They see men with men. You are self-identified as a woman. How is it that you are writing these male steamy romances, and how do you ensure that, as you talked about tropes, you're not just using stereotypes?
Yeah. You know, I get asked this question a lot. And for me, when I write stories, like I said, like the characters come into my head. And so I have people that say to me, like, you know, well, why is it two men? Why can't it be a man and a woman in a story? Because it's just not, you know what I mean? Like the story forms itself, and that's what it is. Just it's a love story that happens to have like two men in it. I do stay away from stereotypical tropes, especially for gay men. I feel like the world is so inundated with what a gay man is supposed to be, especially a Black gay man. And, you know, obviously I have a lot of gay friends, and, you know, none of them are the same, you know? And so I like to be able to show, you know, just like every other group, that there are, you know, we're not monolith, that there are different types. There are different people. They're looking for different things. They like different things. And so, you know, I try to do my best to make sure that I am, if I'm writing a gay character, male or female, if I'm writing a gay character, that I am making sure that they are represented in the best light. So part of why I started writing on Literotica in the gay male section is I know the gay men are going to read it. And so, you know, I have yet to have someone come to me and say, you know, that's your characterization of us is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I have different, different types of genres and things like that. But I think what I really try to show is just the human nature of people. You know what I mean? That these are two people who are in love that just happen to be gay. You know what I mean? And that's how I like to try to write my stories, so that, I've had, straight people come to me and say, like, I'm not gay, but this story like really touched my heart. You know what I mean? Or, I'm not a femme male, but, I really wanted Micah to win. You know what I mean? I love for Micah, where he's more feminine than most of the characters that I write. And so, and I've had people say to me, like, I don't identify with this particular personality or character, but I wanted, I saw myself, or I can see how this can be. And so, that's really what I want to just portray. I just want to portray, like, that we are all, again, like I keep saying, we're all just human.
Yeah.
We all love the same, even if we're loving the same sex, we all love the same. We all go through the same issues. And so, why not showcase it in a positive light? And that's what I strive for.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I know we have some budding authors on the call this evening, and we have some people who are deciding whether or not they want to become authors. And it's the ability to know that you can write from a perspective different than your own personal perspective, and that stories come to you. If you are a person who's opted to be a vessel for those downloads to come through you, you might be surprised at what comes.
Right. And I'm not someone who says, like, oh, only a Black person can write a Black character. You know what I mean? Like, I've read, oh gosh, what was that show that turned into a book that showed into Little Fires Everywhere? I think it was an Asian person who wrote that. And it's, it's a Black character and a white character. And so, like, so for me, I don't say to myself, well, because you're this particular thing, you can only write this particular thing. I think you have to do a lot of research. I think I had mentioned before, like, that story that I wrote, Bittersweet Irish Cream, both men are white and they're Irish. You know what I mean? I had to literally learn a little bit of Irish Gaelic. You know what I mean? Like, I had to do a little bit of research to understand, like, to understand what that dynamic looks like. And so, do just, if you're unsure, do some research. If you're really unsure, get a sensitivity reader. I mean, part of what I find really helpful is to be able to have other people read my work, before I throw it out there. And so, again, that's why I was writing for free on Literotica, because I wanted people to give me feedback, like, does this work or does this not work? If you're writing in a population that you are unfamiliar with, get a sensitivity reader to read it first before you throw it out there. That's my biggest advice to anyone.
Yeah. So now so you started, what was the first year that you published something?
So, hey, my plugins again. Hidden Love came out in January of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many words? Is that considered a novel? Is that considered?
It's considered a novel. This is about 70K. It's about 70K in this little book. And then this Complementary Connection is like 100 and some odd words, because I couldn't stop writing it. But yes, they're considered, I do write full novels. And I do like series, just because I probably won't do some. The Hidden Love series was 5 books. It spanned over 10 years. I probably won't do that big a series again. I like a 3 to 4 book series. I think that's good.
What is it about the series that you enjoy?
I am someone who, I want to know what happens next. So if I read a really good book and I'm like, okay, but then what happens? And here goes my imagination. I will replay what happens. I'll fantasize it out about what happens next, and things like that. And I'll keep going in my own head. So for me, I want to know what happens. I want to know, even after they get their happily ever after. Like, what does that look like? And then what happens after that? And then what happens after that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I think I'm going back to Joanna's statement where Joanna said, OMG, I knew I was a book behind. When you do your 5 book series, is it really over? Have you really wrapped it up, or is there a possibility that something could come again? Sorry, Joanna, if this
Yeah.
messes it up for you.
Good question. So I like to have cameos from book to book every once in a while. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
here's my secret. Here, I'm getting all close. So,
Uh-oh, here we go, y'all.
the story Bittersweet Irish Cream that's on Google Play Books was one of the first books that I had wrote. One of the first stories that I wrote a long time ago. Jack, who's in that story, is Connor's childhood. No, not the white guy. Connor's childhood best friend, and so Connor's series, the 5-part series, is done, but I'm going to keep doing because that's kind of like my own thing. It's not part of anything. It's just me just continuing to write more of that series. I just love Jack and Ethan so much, so I'm going to keep writing in there, and Connor and Jamel might show up. A lot of scenes that are in their story is in their stories is also in the Bittersweet Irish Cream story, and so you'll see kind of that overlap.
Okay, you doing like the SUV Chicago Fire, Chicago Med crossover
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we doing. That's what we doing over here. I wrote another story. So my A Love for Micah story. I had did a crossover where they and it's on Literotica right now called Valentine Anniversary. They visited a small town in Rhode Island to go to a bed and breakfast, and it's actually Ethan and Jack's bread and breakfast. So they kind of crossed over just a little bit. So I like little cameos. I like little cameos, and I like the people that actually know my work and follow me. They're like, oh.
I love that. Yeah.
I love that.
That's neat. And that's definitely a skill. Let me see. They said
they might. See, that's someone who knows. Like, listen, I love Jack and Ethan so much. And what I really want to do is I want to do a spinoff story about Jack and Ethan, their oldest son, Ethan Jr. or EJ. And so through that, as he's growing up and coming of age, like I want to do like a whole series on his story. I'm gonna keep going.
Y'all hear
for me, I'm gonna keep going with Jack and Ethan.
Look, y'all hear Keith Buckley said good reads. I wanted to make sure you saw that compliment.
Awesome.
Okay. So this is very interesting, right? Because there are some people would refer to them as legs. You can keep walking these characters out. You can grow with the characters.
Yeah, I want to. I want to as much as I can, but I also like new stories. I am starting a new series next year that's dropping. I think I mentioned it before.
Do tell.
My Dragon series, my Related to Sea series. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast.
You sure did. I was going to ask you, where are we?
I'm so excited about that story dropping.
So I know some people listening are like, all right, y'all talking over each other. Tell the people. Tell the people.
Okay. All right. So, for some of you who don't know, I am a huge like Harry Potter fan, the magicians. Like I like Charmed, like yes, I'm gonna say Twilight. I am Team Jacob. I am a huge like that level of kind of like fantasy person. And so I had created a story in my head a long time ago, kind of mixing up these themes. And I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but yeah. So Beast and Romance is the first book, and it's going to drop sometime next year. I don't have an exact date. This is me putting pressure on you for Horsemen. I need a date to know when that is dropping, because it is so good. It is
Mm.
about a dragon tamer who meets a forest ranger, and yeah, I mean they become best friends. You know me.
Mhm.
I like a friendship underneath. I like a
Yes.
real bromance underneath, and yeah, they fall in love, and it just becomes this magnetic thing that they don't even
Mhm.
understand.
Mhm.
I don't even want to spoil it for you. Just know that Easter eggs all through the book, leading to my first YA series that's going to come out.
Mhm.
So,
Congratulations.
series too.
That's so exciting.
It's so exciting. It's so
Oh,
exciting. I'm really
wow.
dipping my hand. Like most of my books are contemporary. So this is
Mhm.
my first time really dipping in my hand into like a romantasy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What was that like for you to write this? Because, like I said, when we talked last year, you were like, I think I want to dip in this direction. I got something. And then for the green light inside of you to
Yeah.
finally say, now, what was
Yeah.
that like?
It's hard as hell.
Right.
You know what? Because and the reason why it's a romantasy and not a full like in a fantasy world is
Yes.
because shout out to everybody who writes fantasy. That
Mm,
shit is hard.
okay.
The world building. Oh my gosh.
Mm,
Having to like follow through and remember what you said in the
yes.
last book or the
Yes.
last, that is really, really hard,
Hmm.
So shout out to my fantasy writers out there. You're doing the work for
Yeah.
people like me. uh,
Yeah.
I had to read a lot of fantasy stuff to
Hmm.
really understand, the Children of Blood and Bone series, and like I just had to read a lot of fantasy stuff to really understand what exactly it is that I'm doing.
Yes.
uh, and I think I did it well.
All right.
We gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. We're going
Um,
have you done any snippets for people to preview?
well, if
Uh-uh.
you are on my newsletter,
Which I am. Go
okay.
ahead.
So every newsletter, I drop a snippet of like what I'm writing next. Right
Mhm.
now, I'm just doing a whole lot of promotion for, the Ryan D. Ryder series. So those are the
Yeah.
snippets that I'm dropping. But you know what? Thank you. I'll drop a snippet for my newsletter at the end of this month, for Beast and Bromance. And so, yeah, I
I
like
feel
to.
like I should say you're welcome, Joanna. I feel like
Probably. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'll drop some snippets. But if you're on my newsletter, I do always do a snippet or of what I'm currently writing. Sometimes it
Mhm.
makes absolutely no sense of why I'm doing this now. But yeah, it just kind of
Okay.
lets you know, like, hey, this is coming up sometime soon. So
And so you called it a what do you call it? Romantasy?
romantasy, yes.
Romantasy, very cute. Did you coin that or does that exist
I did
already?
not coin that term. I did not
That's
coin
super
the term
cute.
romantasy. I did not coin the term magical realism. That's another. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
story is magical realism.
Mhm.
Yeah, see all the things that I had no idea.
See? It's a whole world out there. That's right. If people have not joined that newsletter, you need to go
Yes,
to her
go on my
website.
website. Just scroll all the way down. It asks if you want to join the newsletter. Just put your email address in there, and as soon as I get it, you're automatically on for whatever the next. I just drop it once a month. I'm one of those people like, I know that's pretty bad, but because people are like, oh, you got to do your newsletter like all the time, and I'm like,
I know. I
I
know.
don't want. I personally don't want 3 emails a week from the same
Mhm.
person. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I only drop my newsletter once a month. I tell you what's going on with me this month. I tell you what's happening next month, and then I'll see you next month. Like
I
I
can,
try to keep it simple.
I appreciate your newsletters because they remind me that I'm supposed to do mine. So at least I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh yeah, I guess I should let people know I'm doing this.
Yeah,
Sometimes I get to it, sometimes I don't. But let me tell you publicly, I appreciate your newsletters when they come.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. I try to keep it simple. I try not to give y'all. I try to make it colorful and exciting for you to kind of like read through,
Yeah.
get a sense of what's going on. I always drop a link for a book or something that I'm doing or a snippet of
Hmm.
what I'm doing. And then,
Let's talk about your year because so you started publishing in 2021, but you've been writing for a long time. You talked about the series. like it took you over 10 years to build this one particular series. You're
Yeah.
getting ready to start a new series in this romantasy genre, and who knows what other genre you will
No,
enter into by the time we talk again.
no. I got a Woolworths, a
A
werewolf.
werewolf?
Yes, I'm
Of
liking.
course you do. I knew there was something else. I said, I'm not going to poke her yet, but seeing how you mentioned it.
Yeah.
So, marketing, you've had a heck of a year this year with
Hmm.
traveling. What is this marketing thing like for you, and
Yeah.
where have you been this year?
Oh gosh, how many states have I been to? New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, um, Maryland, Georgia, Seattle.
I
Yeah,
think it was
Portland.
Seattle.
Yeah, yeah.
Weren't you in Texas? Were you in Texas at one point this
I
year?
was not in Texas. I was trying to get to Texas, but
Okay, okay,
they didn't take me.
got
Um,
you.
so yeah, I've been a little bit of everywhere. I've really spent this year um, getting my name out there, going to different, signing up for different author events and conferences, and
Mhm.
you know, um, really just flying out and meeting new people. I'm telling you, when I tell you, I am this way all the time. I am this way all the time. If you come past my table, I am like this. Um, but yeah, I wanted to kind of, I know I'm a new writer, and so people don't know me, people don't know my
Mhm.
work, and the only way they're going to know my work is if they kind of meet me and see me, and things like that. And so I really spent the time just kind of cultivating new readers, but also just connecting with other writers. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's important too,
Mhm.
to just connect with more seasoned writers and the people that are already kind of doing it, and
Yeah.
getting their advice, and going to workshops and things like that. And so,
Mhm.
oh, Florida. I've also been to Florida. So
Okay.
yeah, doing Smut Lovers again next
Oh, wait,
year. Just so you
I
guys,
was going to ask you, and please tell us again the name of the conference that
the
tickles me.
Smut Lovers Conference in Florida. You can actually look it up, smutlovers.com, I think it is.
Mhm.
Um, they are, shout out to Nikki Rome. It's an amazing conference, because yes, we're buying smutty books, yes, but it's
Mhm.
also a bunch of workshops, and so
Oh.
it's really connecting readers and writers to how to do a really good smutty book,
Mm.
and how
Mhm.
to be authentic. And I learned so much at that last conference. I'm
Mhm.
still in the process of finishing up my BDSM book.
Okay.
Um, but I'm making sure, like, it's from the things that I learned again, so that it's authentic, right? Because for me,
Mhm.
authenticity is so important. And so I want to make sure that, you know, if you're going to attend any of these conferences, for me, that I'm getting something out of
Mhm.
it, because it's not always sales. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can
Yeah.
go to a conference and sell maybe 5 books, but I can meet so many people and network so much that people find me, just like
Yeah.
today, right? I'm
Yeah.
not selling any books today, but people are going to find me. People are going to
Yeah.
go to my QR code. They're going to read my free story and say, you know what? I want to know more about her. I want to
Yeah.
know more about the stories that she's writing. And so
Right.
that's the important piece for me, just connecting with my readers.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that people will go buy some books, at least the Kindle version for $4.99.
Right?
All right. That's my hope and my request for people, which is why I do this show and I push so many authors at this time of year,
Yeah.
because people are buying gifts, they're buying stocking stuffers and so forth. And this gives people an opportunity to meet the authors, because right, that makes a difference, where it's like, I actually heard this person, I saw her,
Yes.
I listened to her, I'm curious now, this may be a genre that I never would have touched or thought about or even heard about. Like I asked you, like, romantasy, like, is that a thing, or you make it? Because I think you're just so creative that you could have made it up and now I'd be saying that you did it. So right, but here's an opportunity now for people to expand their repertoire, their book repertoire, and an opportunity to look at character development.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I enjoy when you're talking, you're also teaching, because you're showing people and telling people the importance of research as well as openness to learning and to continuing to develop your craft. So even
Right.
though you've written a book, that's not necessarily making you an expert and a person who does not continue to learn and develop and hone their skills.
Oh, I'm nowhere near an expert. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I have an editor for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I miss things all the time. And so
Mhm.
having someone to kind of read through, especially, through 4-HP, having those editors kind of read through and double read through and make sure that I'm saying what I'm actually trying to say and
Yes.
making sure it makes sense. And, you know,
Yes.
that's important to me.
Let's talk about this piece too, because I'm hearing it so loud right now, is the vulnerability
Mm,
that and did you experience it as vulnerability? Here you're writing on these topics, be it in your new romantasy genre as well as in your steamy romance, y'all. She know I call it smut, but we'll go with steamy romance, right? And then you're now sharing your internal world with other people.
yeah.
Did you experience that as being vulnerable?
Oh, I still experience it as being vulnerable. Full disclosure, I'm someone who, lives with generalized anxiety. And so every time I put a book out there, my heart freezes up like, are people going to like me? People going to hate me? Like, it
Mhm.
every single time. Um, I have learned to try not to dig too deep into comments because some people may hate it because that's
Mhm.
just not what they wanted to read, and other people love it. And so I just really try to focus on that.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't know an author who has not experienced imposter syndrome. I don't
Mm.
know an author who Ashley. I don't know an author who hasn't, questioned themselves
Yeah.
and said, "Do I still want to do I still want to do this? Do people still want to read my stuff?"
Mhm.
I think we all
Mhm.
kind of go through it in one way or another, especially if we're going through like a writer's block.
Yeah.
This what's this the third book. When I tell you, I was stuck on 30,000 words for maybe 6 months. I just
Wow.
I couldn't I knew where I wanted to go and I couldn't get there.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what it was. I think it was reading other books because sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I have to just take a break from writing and
Yes.
I just need to read some books for fun. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I was just I think I was reading other books. And then just one day it was like, oh, okay, I can do it this way. And then I
Uh-huh.
sped through the last like 60, 70,000 words,
Mhm. Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
it just happens like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think every time you put yourself out there, you're asking yourself, like, are people going to accept my work?
Yeah.
Are people
Yeah.
going to see me? It's funny because like my kids can now Google me, or they keep telling them not to. And I especially tell them, do not tell your friends, because my kids are school age. Like, don't tell your friends that your mom has written a book. Because if they start Googling my books and then they go tell their mama, we're going to have a whole problem. Um,
The pickup line at school is going to be a very different conversation.
Woo, that's also why my name is just my initials, just so
Gotcha.
okay. Uh, so nobody can actually find me. But yeah, I mean, I think we all, so I was saying that like my kids are like, oh, like, well, you're famous. And I'm like, I'm not famous. Like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
And like my publishers are like, start a wiki page. And I'm like, a wiki page? Like, what? Me and Stephen King both have wiki
That's
pages?
right. That's right.
Like I get like I can't even imagine like something
Mhm.
like that. But
Mhm.
it's something you just have to continue to work through,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you have the talent and you have the talent, just hold on to that.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
if I have 100 people who really like my stuff, I'm gonna keep writing for those 100 people. Like,
Okay.
that's how I feel.
Okay.
Because you know
Well,
what? I read my own stuff too, and I like my stuff.
and isn't that the truth?
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes. Sometimes I read my books and I'm like, you wrote that? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh,
Oh,
that was real
yeah.
good. Yes.
Here's my other secret. I cannot read. I can read, but I
Uh-huh.
can't really read my
Uh-huh.
own sex scenes. Like, oh my gosh. I edit my audiobooks because, it's narrators and I'm listening up. I'm like, ooh, right? This smut. Like I can't. I'd be like, I'm in a car like hyperventilating, like, oh, I can't. I need to speed past the scene. Oh my gosh.
Oh, too funny. So I'm glad that you mentioned the audiobook. So when did you decide that you wanted to do it in different versions? And then I'll follow up with my next question.
I didn't decide. My
Oh,
publishers
oh,
decided.
they said it. Okay.
They said we're doing an audiobook, and I was like,
Oh,
okay.
and did you have any pick in who the voiceover
I
people
did.
were?
I
Okay.
did. See, shout out to Four Horsemen because
Hmm.
sometimes, publishers kind of do their own thing, but they
Yes.
did give me a choice. They sent me like 2 or 3 different voices
Yes.
and was like, what do you think? And, they listened to what I was looking for my characters. I
Uh-huh.
mean, like, some voices need a stronger, a tone to it, and other
Yes.
voices need that kind of laid back, subtle tone. And so,
Yes.
yeah, that's what so I appreciate that. So,
Yeah. So Ashley said, I love that you make yourself blush. That's some good steamy romance. That's right, Ashley. I'm with you. So I love that, right? Because earlier I asked you about, and this was not the next question I was going to ask you, but earlier I asked you about, did you have a vision for what your characters look like?
mhm,
What I hadn't thought about was, did you have an ear for what they sounded like?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I remember, so earlier um, when Hidden Love had came out, I had asked a friend of mine who knew a friend who was an actor, if we can do something on Instagram, and it's still on Instagram if you guys want to see it. But they did a scene together for chapter 3 of the Hidden Love book,
Mm.
and I remember we did when we came together, just kind of like did like a quick like reading of it, and I'm
Hmm.
listening to his voice, and I just kind of like closed my eyes, and I was listening to his voice, and I was like, yeah, that's Connor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Nice.
oh yeah, I do have an image in my head about what these characters should sound like.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I try to get as close as possible when
Uh-huh.
they send me the what do you call it? Not rehearsal. What's the word?
Kind of like the
Is it
audition tape.
audition? Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Audition tape.
Yeah. So let's see. What does Kelly say? Kelly from Mississippi says she reads her own books and thinks, "Ooh, that lady is nasty."
I
Then says, "Wait, oh, that's me." Right.
do. All my life, I do. I'm telling you, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god.
Did I, you Urkel, did I do that? Yeah, yeah, you did it. You did it.
I just be sweating already just thinking about it. Oh god.
So now the big question for me is, do these now morph into some sort of visual representation, be it web series,
Yeah.
be it film, be it
Listen, Netflix, Hulu, if
uh,
you see me, Prime Video, like pick up a book. I'm with it. And listen, I will toot my own horn and be tokenism, okay? I do interracial characters. I know that's in now. I do interracial characters, okay? All right. I know that's what you like to see.
yes. So
Let's do it.
you here for the screenplays. You were
I'm
here
here for
for it.
the screenplays. The thing is, the truth is, if I wanted to do it, I have to kind of write my own screenplay and like
Yeah.
market it, and
Yeah.
that's another.
That's another level and a different
Yeah,
style. Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot of work, and maybe eventually I will.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you, well, maybe you don't know, but I don't write full time. Not yet. I would love
Mm-hmm.
to do that at some point, but I got to pay these bills, honey.
Yeah.
Like I said, right now, it's not about the money. It's about me having fun and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
throwing this stuff out there. But if I do want to do it full time, then it has to be where I can sustain myself a little bit.
Yes.
And so that's probably when I'll start to really look at like screenplays and maybe writing for other people. I
Oh.
wouldn't mind getting into like some of those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
Kelly said, then there you go. Netflix and chill episodes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix be steamy anyway.
Come
Listen,
on. It
okay?
isn't now I have not watched any of the Bridgerton, and I know people are like, what, you didn't know? I have not, but I understand they got pretty steamy for a moment
They
there.
get steamy, honey.
Okay. So
When
so
my
there's
girl
space.
Penelope's boob just fell out, I said, oh, hey, that's what I'm talking about. One time for the big girls. I was with it.
So here it comes. Here she come, y'all. Here she
I know.
comes.
See? I'm a mess. I
Oh,
keep saying
Chantel said no chilling will be happening.
it.
Y'all see why I love spending time with her. Y'all see it. Y'all hear it.
Oh gosh, we need 2 hours,
Oh,
Dr.
easily,
Kathleen.
easily. Next time we gonna have to set it up as such for sure. So what's up next? I mean, I know you've talked about the romantasy. You've talked about there's a werewolf piece. Any what else is coming up next for you next
Yeah,
year? Where can people see you? How do they stay abreast? So if they want to meet you in
yeah.
person, get some books signed.
So I had my first event of the year is I'm doing a reading with two other people. I was part of a by erotica anthology,
Mm.
and so me and a couple other people are coming together in January to do a live reading at the LGBTQ Center in New York City. And
Oh,
so that's going to be the last weekend of January. I will have that on my website. I
fantastic.
am doing a Polycon again this year. That's in
Hmm.
DC, Maryland area. So if you have tickets for a Polycon, I have a couple of other like little things in between that I'm still waiting to get. I'm still waiting to hear. Oh, I'm doing the Write Women's Book Fest in Delaware. So Write WRITE Women's Book Fest. Look that up because that's going to be in another amazing. It's in Delaware. It's in July.
Okay.
It's going to be another amazing event. And I am doing Smut Lovers in Florida in September. So that's the events that I have like off the top of my head right now. Uh,
Okay.
right now, what's on my webpage is still the 2024 events, but I'm going to revamp all that. And so as of January 1st, you'll see the new 2025 events. So
Okay.
yeah, find me. And then, I am so open. Like, email me. If you've read one of my stories, like, don't hesitate to reach out and say, oh my gosh, I love this book. Don't
Hmm.
hesitate to reach out and say, I want to punch Connor in his face. Because I get that often. And I will email you back. Or if you just have like a publishing question, you have a question about Four Horsemen and you're thinking about needing a publisher, or you're thinking about needing a sensitivity reader, or, whatever. Like if you just have like questions about writing, like I'm so open. I didn't mention my other jobs, but I am a social worker. I am a life skills coach. I'm
Hmm.
master's level. I do. I reply to my emails. I'm master's level. I'm a motivator. This is what I do. So
Hmm.
yes, this is the fun side of me. But the other side of me is I'm actually really professional in the things that I do. So if you need a coach, if you need, a
Come
social,
on.
if you need some encouragement, if you need whatever, like that's what I do. So
Well, you know what? Let's. I know we have only
like
a
two
couple more.
minutes.
I know, and all in 2 minutes, and this just means we have to continue next year. That's all.
That's right.
Tell me this: when the writing for you, and you talked about it from the social work side, what does the writing for you do? Like, I know for me with my children's book series, it gives me a creative outlet. Doing the adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, it is just so fun and enjoyable. And it does incorporate my work as a clinician and
Yeah,
as a teacher, but it is different. It's in a
yeah.
creative way. What does your writing do for you that your work doesn't do for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it creates a world where, there is love and acceptance
Mm-hmm.
in regardless of what you do. And maybe that's my draw to, writing LGBTQ characters. Like I want to see that love and acceptance
Mm-hmm.
all around. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I want to see people win,
Yeah.
people go through struggles. And again, like I said, like a lot of my stuff it's real world stuff that people are going through. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, Rion's mother is, she was a drug addict. She's now clean, but she did a whole lot of things when she was on drugs for the
Mm-hmm.
last 20 years. And so there's a level of forgiveness that needs to happen that he just does not have for her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some real world stuff. And so
Yeah.
they find that road of redemption together. And so,
Yeah.
what it does for me is that it creates a world where, there is love and acceptance and redemption and forgiveness and
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that we don't always see. I believe in happily ever after. There will always be a happily ever after in my books. There's never
Okay.
going to be a book where it's like, and they all suck
Right.
and
Right.
everybody
Right.
went home sad, and the drama still happens. People say watching and The Handmaid's Tale, I do adore, but people are
Okay.
like, oh my God, she's still in it.
Right.
Is
Right.
it ever gonna happen? Like, it's not. I don't do that. You know what I
Got
mean?
you.
Like,
Got
I
you.
like Thanks, but she's not
Yeah.
that Thanks. So
Do you
yeah,
find yourself pulling some of your skill set of a social worker into the writing? Like you talked about forgiveness and
yeah.
conflict and resolution and stuff like that.
In every single one of my books, there's a therapy.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's in therapy.
Got you. Got
Somebody's in
you.
therapy. There's also because I consider myself, well, I'm not going to get political, but
Mhm.
I do believe in God, and so there's a level of spirituality also in all of my
Okay.
books, and
Yeah.
so you'll see that as well.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean Christianity. I mean, one of my characters, not Rion, Nick, is becoming a Buddhist. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I have another
Hmm.
series, I have another story, standalone story that's coming up, and they're both Muslim.
Okay.
And so and then the Irish cream, bittersweet Irish cream, they're both Catholic.
Okay.
So I like to dive into, like I said, just kind of real world complexity.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I love it. Well,
yeah.
I definitely, obviously, I always invite you back. I'm inviting you back again so we can talk some more next year. And I think definitely talking about the publishing process is definitely something we do want to talk about because I know that's a big question for authors. Do I stay independent? Do I
Yeah.
self-publish? Or do I, go this publishing
Yeah.
route?
And I
Because
am still, and I am still a hybrid, so you can do both. You know
thank
what I
you.
mean? I have stories, like I said, like Bittersweet Irish Cream and A Love for Micah and Jerry's Heart. Like all of that is my own publishing books. And I have other stories that I'm self-publishing. And then I
Hmm.
have series that I'm doing through my publishers. And so I do know a little bit about the good and the pros and the cons of both worlds.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Anything you'd like to share with the people before we get ready to wrap up and pull out? Yes, fan yourself with your library of books so that they can see them all. Yes, yes.
Yes. Plain and simple connection, family familiar connection. No, I really enjoy this series. I really enjoy these characters. And so I really think that people will pick it up. But it's not as, I'm not gonna say it's not as steamy, but that's my those are my boys. I call that series turning a hoe into a housewife
Oh
because
my.
Connor is definitely a whore.
So y'all can
Oh
see
God.
she
But yeah,
has a catalog here of books. Her
I
link
do.
to
I
her.
am on IG. I spend most of my time on IG. So,
Okay.
be there.
Yeah.
Um, just like hang out. You know,
Yeah.
I like, and I'm a big cat person. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm also on Blue Sky. That's something totally new. If people are not on Blue Sky, go on Blue Sky.
I
It's like
don't
the
know
new
Blue Sky.
Oh,
Really?
honey, we gotta get on Blue Sky then.
Okay, I told y'all make sure you have your notes. See, I keep my notepad next to me too, so
We
I
gotta
can
get
write
on
these
Blue. I'm
things
trying to
down.
get everybody on Blue Sky. It is beautiful over there. I talk books and
Okay.
cats. That's what I'm doing over there.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go check out Blue Sky. Y'all be sure to follow her on Instagram. Be sure to stay abreast of her website. You got Google Reads. You have so many. Yes, hit that QR code. Look at you. You got it down
I
perfectly.
got it
I
this time. I
see
got it.
you. I mean, got it down. Be
Oh
sure,
God.
please also be sure to hit the subscribe button at Ask Dr. Walls 525. Look,
Yeah.
I couldn't end the year without talking to you. We were trying to schedule, and it was like, we might have to go. No, we're not going into next year.
That's
You
what
getting
she
on
said.
before.
That's what she said. She said, no, we need to do this now.
I need people to have a nice hot holiday, and they gonna have
Yes.
it with your book.
Enjoy the steamy holiday.
Yes.
Cuddle up with the good book.
I'm saying get the hot cocoa and get the books, and you good to
Yes.
go. And right now, the Kindle ones are $4.99.
That's
So
right.
there's no excuse why you can't get them all. And
That's
some of them
right.
are free. Come on. And be sure to please leave reviews. That's all very important for
Yeah.
authors that you leave those reviews.
Please
Well,
do.
SK, it goes without saying, you are always fantastic. And I thank you for just you, all
You're
that you bring.
amazing as well. I
Thank
so
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So until we meet again, if you are celebrating any of the holidays, happy holidays. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please do so. I might squeeze in one more show, one more Walls of Wellness, potentially this Sunday. So you definitely want to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified about that. I'm working out details, later on tonight and tomorrow. Have a wonderful holiday season.
You.
As I thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
You.
And I look forward to seeing y'all all very soon, virtually, or maybe one day in person. All right. God bless and be
Ladies.
well. Take
Bye.
care, everyone.